Welcome. uh, right. So our opponent is from Romania, and we are gonna play our favorite opening against him. It looks like, which is always nice. Although one should venture out and learn a new opening from time to time. It's always good to try new openings, especially when you're still developing as a player, learning who you are. Opening choice is a lot about knowing who you are as an individual. Are you a tactical gunslinger or are you a positional tea sipper? I'm a bit more of the latter, to be perfectly frank. At least for the first half of my chess playing career, I'm basically a positional tea sipper. It was only later, after I did a lot of tactics training, that I turned into a bit of a dragonfly, you know. And that dragonfly edge has really balanced out my game a lot. But a lot of the openings which I have chosen have been chosen with the tea sipper mentality in mind. Because tea sipping is safe. Nothing's going to happen crazy. It's going to be all under control. If you lose, it's because you lost. In the dragon openings, in the crazy wild gunslinger openings, you're always gonna there's always gonna be variability, risk, and some people like it, some people don't. I don't. The public's out there throwing dots on a board. I don't throw dots on a board. I bet on sure things. So what's a sure thing here? Sure thing is that he's got this pawn well covered, but the price he's paying is his bishop has turned into a pawn. Okay. Maybe let's try to exploit it by targeting the square which the bishop would ordinarily have an eye on. You see how, by thinking about what the opponent's structural weakness is, an idea emerged, a strategic idea. Whether it's a great idea or not, that's hard to say. It's always going to be hard to say. But another idea is to always challenge the open file. It's never good to let them have the open file unchallenged. That's my personal opinion. And yeah, now he dodged the queen out of the way so that if we are captured, his rook will be able to come in. So we can't capture because it helps him to develop, okay? But we can do something else. What can we do? What can we do? I think let's just toss the knight out in there. It's a wild knight, and it's not easy to actually challenge it. So it's a pleasant piece. And let's plan the bishop here at some point, most likely. Or do we have to deal with potentially? No, not really. Let's toss the bishop out there. Let's see if he starts to eye the pawn. He eyes the knight instead, but the bishop's got it. Let's ask the question mark to the bishop. Maybe so he's planning this kind of a rear guard. Repost. Okay, if he does that, then we tuck back. We're going to tuck back. If he comes to challenge the bishop diagonal, it's a bit harder. I didn't think about that as much, to be perfectly honest. That's the kind of position where you can make a blunder if you don't trade, if you try to hold on to material, if you try to maintain the tension, there's always a risk of blundering. So I've got to keep that in mind. Yeah, but I really don't see much for either side at this stage. So I think I'm going to just simplify it a little bit and see where the chips fall. So we're gonna have an endgame battle of some kind, and that's always gonna be fun. Hopefully he tries to tickle the bishop away, and we get a opportunity to capture, and we win a pawn in the whole trade. This is how you can probe them, coax out little weaknesses, little errors. Let's also try to cramp him up for room on this side of the board. Cramp him up a bit. Uh, and let's retain. Well, okay, I wasn't sure where to go, here or there, but anyway, I went somewhere, and this is fine. Bishop has a good long range and angle here. You just have to watch out for the knight, which is now a totally unprotected piece. But pawn up here should come with reasonable tempo. Not that it does much. This is a good move. We gotta defend it. So bishop here was ultimately maybe more correct. But we still have all solid control of the setup, and we could take the opportunity to develop our king towards the center. That's a micro improvement in the position, perhaps. Yes, I don't have that bishop here, but now I think it's done its purpose. It's done its job, which was really more about serving me in the opening and middle game phases. Now, as we move to the end game, I don't think it's such a big deal to lose that key bishop. Now the game focus becomes more about, well, let's try to win the pawn here. Now we could potentially have a shot at it, and uh, it's a wobbly position, a lot of activity going on. I don't have full control of it, but let's see. I try to get more pieces into the action, a lot of pieces into the action, a lot of forks, a lot of. The knights are just too much for you, man. The knights are just too much. Look at the knights. It's crazy how these guys are just going to jump in and eat up the whole game, you know. But he's taking his time to think. It's a wise move. We're going to just win that bloody pawn and win the game after. Okay, so. Oh, I fell into a trap. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Shit. Do we have some counterplay trick here? I might have a counterplay trick. Have to be a little careful. Let's invest a second or two, for God's sake. Uh, okay. Okay. So maybe we lose the pawn. But if he allows us to connect these 2 pawns, I'll be very happy. We still got knight on the eye, pawn on the eye, so we're gonna get back the material. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's all under control. I have a plan. I have a plan. Let's just try to trade off the knight, maybe, just to make it easier. And potentially reconnect the pawns to the chain. But it doesn't really matter. Let's take the knight off. And now let's try to win this game cleanly. It's a time game. Let's focus on dominating the knight, not letting him get easy entry squares. Keep the position balanced, stay ahead on the clock. It's all easy peasy stuff at the end of the day. So let's force this pawn on a light square. Bishop might be able to target it at some point. Let's keep the pressure going onto these pawns, force a trade. Okay, no trade. So we maybe try to slide the king into the game now that we see that that's how it's going to be. Okay, we've got to watch out for this square. So let's come with the bishop here, guarding 2 interesting potential squares for the knight to come in from, but the time's up and the time is over and the game is won. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. God bless you.